Diablo face. Oh my goodness. Look, my face. My face is all red because I have the fake fire nose man in front of me. How you doing, buddy?
What is it, like minus 15 and you're losing your mind?
No, it's so here's the funny thing. I'm from 300 miles north of here. It is just 0 degrees, which would be zero to you guys. No, that'd be -5 for you all.
I think so.
Right? Close, close. Any American that knows metric, smoked weed.
Those are the only places that are still using metric in America.
I know, isn't that hilarious? Okay, well, sorry about the red face, but it literally is my heater, and I'm on top of an electric blanket on top of it. Here, how about that? That looks less crazy. Let's turn this sideways and do it like I'm supposed to. Get a lecture from the internet, man. Hey, did you catch the No Kings rally I did the other day?
Yeah, I did see the press, like quite a lot of press coverage for it, right?
Yeah, it was good. The big thing is I went as a character, like a Mexican luchador wrestler, because these guys are all picking on immigrant children, and it's happening in Kansas as well. But I've got this shitbag person up there that's doing the same thing, named Kobach, Chris Kobach. What a loser, and so that's kind of the final road where other people seem to be starting to stand up, but not really. So let's not act like they really care about immigrant children either. They're just, they just know other people care. But it was hilarious. So Mexican Americans and Mexicans are familiar with these masks that wrestlers wear. It's a very common thing in Mexico. So I go, I'm going to dress up as that, and that way the kids know you're thinking about them. I had my Pepsi can to let them know I understand the strike going on. Snopes says none of that story is real, but I also know Coke is big enough to get that said. I'm going to go with it's probably true. You know what I mean? And so what that's all about is there is an accusation with Coca-Cola that they had employees come in and then they called ICE on the employees. Now, I originally heard that from a legitimate news source, but that, it's a good rumor and it's a believable rumor, but there does not appear to be the factual backup to it that we need unless you worked at that Coke place and knew who called.
Yeah. People who got sent away kind of knew who called, but they're not there.
Probably knew who called. Right. And so Coke's sales have dropped like 20%. And Pepsi, of course, is picking up the slack, which, they don't need to be any bigger either. They sell shitty food. They are Taco Bell. I mean, Hispanics should not drink Pepsi just because of the shame known as Taco Bell. The only restaurant I know that gives you a full roll of toilet paper when you buy a combo meal.
Sean, really?
Is it too early for that joke? Is it too early? Okay. But it is sinful what they sell as Mexican food. So, I mean, it is wrong. So, pretty good hit on the character. And and I would ask you the same thing as an outsider as you go. One of my close advisors said, you need to get more than one deal. And then no one knows who's showing up to a debate and no one knows who's showing up to a rally and what you're going to say, because you're allowed to say stuff in costume you don't get to say in real life.
Yeah. Do you know the entire premise of the original Kobe report was that?
Yeah. Right. It was all fake. Right.
Yes, where he was playing the right-wing character.
Yeah. But it became very real. How weird is it? So what I would say is it's his deal and my deal were both taken off of South Park. South Park, the cartoon was able to do anything they wanted because no one ever looked at it seriously.
Yeah.
And they were covering serious subject matter all the time. So
just to derail you a little bit, there is a show on Netflix called Mo.
Yeah, oh my God, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Have you seen the part where he gets caught in Mexico and he becomes one of those wrestlers and he's like, why is this wet when the wrestler puts his butt on his face? Yeah.
Yeah, the luchador with the used mask. I love that show because I worked with a bunch of Palestinians. My business partner in Kansas City was Palestinian. We were in business together about 15 years, great business partner. I mean, isn't that so? Cheech and Chong did a show called Born in East LA. Everybody should look it up and watch it because right now, with immigration raids and everything, this is the stuff that's going to happen. You're going to have American-born citizens that didn't know they needed to carry ID.
Yeah.
You know, why would you need to carry it? That end up in Mexico. They don't have any people. They don't know how to make any money. They don't really speak 100% of the language.
Yeah.
And then they just have to figure out a way to survive. You know, and what was he sleeping in a broom closet, wasn't he?
Yeah, like a the janitor's storage area. That was his bedroom when he got deported.
And how about the blow up with the politician on that thing? Mo is worth watching. I mean, it is. Dude, that guy's funny.
Even his stand up is on point. You should check some of his shows.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him, and his mother's olive oil is undoubtedly the funniest weird side story ever that he carries around a bottle of his mother's olive oil. As only a non-American could have with. So in owning an Italian restaurant, Italians are never 100% satisfied with what you do because their mother makes it better. And you always have to go, of course your mother makes it better.
Yeah.
You just have to say it so they feel like not guilty about cheating on her eating other food. Because that's what it really is all about. Isn't that crazy?
Makes total sense.
Hey, so let me ask you a question. So from a social media standpoint, the funniest thing happened yesterday. So this guy named Charles McCall, who thinks of himself as kind of being slick. Like he has a 1940s profile hair, like greased back, like you would see in a Godfather movie or something, except he's white with bug eyes, like thyroid eyes. So he looks like a frog with back hair. He announces that he's running for governor on Twitter, which Twitter is the most awful place in the world right now.
Imagine.
Almost one day later, he has 171 likes, and you want to be in charge of this, right? Yeah, so he needs to be running for city council in whatever. I think it's called Atoka, is where he's from. He might want to try that one first.
There is somebody that I knew in university in Oklahoma with that last name. I wonder whether there's some relation because he was also from some weird.
So McCall is a pretty common Irish name and generally really intelligent group of folks. So they usually ended up in kind of the higher echelon educationally. Most of the ones I knew were physicians or attorneys, and he's a banker and a rancher, which I don't know if
these people were ranchers in Owasso.
Oh, wow. Well, he's a rancher in Atoka. So ranching may just mean, as we have learned from the show Landman, that you have oil on your land and, you know, you get to be a rancher, perhaps.
Yeah.
So it's friends of mine that were ranchers. They'd go, yeah, I just love to go out in the morning and have some coffee and watch meat grow. Right.
Yeah, that pretty much is it, right?
Yeah. Isn't that a crazy idea? So life is good here, man. What's going on? Other than being cold, like I got a staycation. This is the longest I've been in my house in a year.
Yeah, hasn't everything been shut down for like the past 3 days? Which means that none of my people in Oklahoma are working because most of them are home and they have children and stuff like that.
Well, here's what you want to think about is, so as climate changes, which I think by now we're able to say that nobody's really arguing with us. Isn't that fair now?
I think most of them agree. And even YouTube nowadays doesn't really flag us for that shit.
So as climate change continues, we just need to, like my water lines run through the ceiling of my house. And evidently the hot water is exposed more to some area. And I need to find out where it is and cover it. It works in all of the house except the sink where you would wash dishes. The one place you need the hot water.
Oh, Sean, like not having hot water and doing dishes in winter is the best thing ever.
Right. The good news, it doesn't smell because it's so cold.
Mm-hmm.
But my mail showed up yesterday, and with all the Doge cuts going on, I just
Mm-hmm.
want to say kudos to the United States Post Office. I don't know what that poor son of a gun was doing out yesterday in this stuff because I didn't need my mail that bad. I just didn't. I just didn't.
Was it a bunch of just coupons and shit, Sean?
Yeah, it wasn't anything worth anything. I got like there was one thing that may or may not have mattered.
Mm-hmm.
So I still get like 2 paper bills per month.
Okay.
And I guess maybe off camera we need to go, hey, how do I need to get a hold of these people and tell them to quit sending me them? I know how much money they're taking out.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
There are certain companies in Oklahoma that insist on having a paper bill. There is no option to say, please don't email this shit to me. I'll look at it.
Yeah, and it's basically $1 each. And so, they're burning me for $3. I mean, not that $3 really matters, but it's $3. It's $3. So, what else is going on here? So that event was called the No Kings. So meaning, I think people are afraid that the Donald's trying to be a king, but I got to be honest with you, he's looking pretty old. Outside of the fact that he's got all the immigrants doing the jobs he doesn't want to do, which is almost hilarious in retrospect.
I know.
So let me tell you this farming thing going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe Biden, as part of the American Rescue Plan, allowed farms to upgrade like their water, going to their house, going to stock ponds, all this other stuff, and the government would pay back. And there were some other things like fencing. And so they all did this, and then they would get reimbursed after it happened. So Joe Biden gives them hundreds of thousands of dollars for free to upgrade their water, which is really necessary. And then they voted for the other guy.
Oh, kind of fucked themselves.
Right. And so the other guy, named and not be used, cuts off that funding, will not allow it to be delivered. And so the challenge is they probably borrowed money to get that money, and then they were going to pay it back as farms do every year. And now they don't have any money to pay it back. So here's the kicker. Guess who owns the company where you can buy acreage of these farmlands that are going to get sold off or repoed? J.D. Vance owns the website.
Oh, wow.
Right. So I am now beginning to think, because Kevin Stitt was in a conversation here, our governor. And so if public schools in rural areas fail, he and his brother are buying those farmlands to be corporate farmers. And if that was happening here, that was the test market. So the fact that J.D. Vance is in the same deal does not surprise me, because it's already happening here as they collapse these rural areas. But what a great way to collapse it. You get to blame it on Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And you've already have this website set up, but I think they're also taking foreign money, which is actually illegal in most places in America.
Yeah,
and we've allowed it.
I've actually looked at buying buying agricultural land as a foreign
swaths of land. So I think what I would say is everyone has been arrogantly enough to believe that we have enough land where you can do that and it wouldn't be used against you. So there's another one that's happening now. So the Chinese government owns Seaboard Meat and Smithfield Hams, the old British company. So Smithfield Ham is really like taken over the hog market because they now own the processing deal. And so now the same farmers are mad because now the Chinese are moving in, but they're going to do their own raising of pigs because they do it vertically.
Oh, stacked. Oh, that is supposed to be like super cool and super weird for the bottom pig as well.
It's terrible for the pigs, but I mean, you are raising them to kill them anyway. So I mean, I get it. Animal rights activists, don't write me a letter.
Sean, I didn't say anything.
Right? Yeah, he's vegetarian when he wants to be. So now they're mad about that, and you go, well, the only people that would care about animal rights you didn't vote for.
I know.
So I am not a fuck around, find out guy. I'm really not, because unfortunately in life, that's the only way any of us learn, is when things go terrible. And I don't want anybody losing their family farm that's been in the family for generations. And I really don't. I don't want anybody losing business over the stupid stuff. But man,
but imagine the person who voted for the new guy without knowing that he has borrowed money and spent based on a program by the previous guy that might get cancelled by his own stupid vote.
Yeah, it is. So, and I don't know. So what they will do is blanketly blame the government for losing their land, rather than they don't understand cause and effect. A lot of it, and this is stuff on TikTok, and I mean TikTok's blown up with this stuff. And I know you're not allowed to be on there, but in this case, it's a great way for us to hear rural America's view, because it is not being shown anywhere on television.
Yeah, I did see you share some video about this farmer who was talking about some sort of funding thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the challenge on this whole thing is do you change your mind then? Or do you just go back to, you only don't vote for that one person on that side? Because they don't understand that their local rep is selling off their schools. They literally they don't get any information that tells them the truth about how it works. And I've been deep into this for years. Yeah. We can't get people to pay attention to the jail thing, and we're going to have to pay $1 billion for a new jail. I mean, and I can't get anybody to pay attention to that and vote the right way. So
can you imagine the information disseminated at like a rural level, where they're not even aware of what the hell's going on with their own funding?
Yeah, so they only get News Oklahoma, it's farm news, and then Fox News. I mean, every place, and that's been for a decade. Fox News is on every single place you go, every cafe and everything else. It's almost like a machismo culture deal that, those woke leftists. Look, farm communities, I went to boarding school in a farm community. They were the most caring, kind people I've ever met. I mean, honestly, I mean this, and well-educated. But I was in Kansas, where they were basically German farmers, well-educated. And so we didn't have any of that. And then they took a far-right swing up there, and then they went back. Like they kicked out all the crazies. And we're still stuck with them here. And I don't really know. I mean, I don't know how you get rid of them at this point. I mean, it's so embedded and everything's so gerrymandered. So,
I love those gerrymandered maps where they kind of look like random creatures sitting inside a state.
Right. Yeah, like some aftermath of war and famine, and they're like, well, there's still 5 people over here. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the lieutenant governor stuff real quick before we head out. So Ryan Walters, the school superintendent, I've been fighting against for a couple of years and a half. I
was going to say 3 years, just to admit
it. His people have floated an idea that since he can't run for governor because there's 2 super rich guys already running, he doesn't have any money. Mm-hmm. That he was going to run maybe for lieutenant governor. And I said, if that's the case, I'll run against him. And so after the latest rally and the other one before that, I've gained a little bit of traction and attention on this thing, which I didn't intend. I mean, I didn't intend, because you and I have joked about it. I mean, it's become our joke. I went up on stage as a character.
I told you, Sean, you are basically pretending to be the character we talked about in our show in real life.
Right. And cussed a bunch in Spanish, so nobody could say anything to me about it, because they're too freaking lazy to look it up.
See, that's the smart thing to do. There are a lot of times where even when I do stand up, Sean, there'll be like really foul words, but in different languages. Right. So only a portion of the crowd would understand.
Well, and my thing is I'm taking a clip from South Park. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no reason not to. So the question now is, so I get a call yesterday night, and it's from somebody in the Democratic Party, and they're doing a kind of like a class or a school deal this weekend. And they were like, can you come to it? And I go, I run multiple businesses, so I've got to work. And I said, tell me the deal. And one of them went from like 8 to 5, and then there was a reception after 5:30. And I'm like, No, I can't spend that much time. I go,
Yeah.
but maybe I'll come Sunday. So I signed up for the deal, and I'm going to go to that deal on Sunday for a little bit because I don't have anything else going on. But it's all ramping up. But I still think, and this is something you and I either need to talk on camera or off. I don't really care which one, about running as an independent versus being attached to a party, because I think, as far as damage goes, you can do way more damage as an independent because no one gets to go, it's one of them liberal fruitcakes from the Democratic Party or one of those right-wing nuts from the Republican Party. I mean, you just go, yeah, I'm an independent, bro. I don't like either one of them.
Yeah. By the way, do you remember what the number was when Kathy ran for lieutenant governor? The amount the candidate had to raise? What is the number now?
Oh, geez. I mean, so just her race, a guy named Joe Dorman ran for governor. It cost him, I believe it was $2.20 per vote. When it's all said and done, how many votes you got? Kathy's 41 cents. She was the most efficient politician I have ever seen. And that's so we have a lady here now named Kelly Zumwalt that was running the tourism department that tried to create her own TV show and all this other stuff. Literally at the same parks we were at, doing the same stuff we were at, but spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars for self-promotion, never got a public speaking gig out of it, and the TV show never came about.
Oh, wow. Wasn't that like Kathy's plan with her campaign back in the day? I remember talking to you about it.
Yeah, and literally, lady just stole it and then got fired because of it, and now she might be in legal trouble because of it.
Jesus.
Right. So my thing is I'm not going to do anything that elaborate. If we decide to go forward with this deal, 6 counties where all the people live, and we go talk to the 6 counties. I'm not going places that are going to vote against me 70-30. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah,
I hate to say that.
You are not going to change anybody's mind in a damn dino, Sean. Let it go.
Right. Exactly. And between TikTok and Facebook, I can get to them, which means they'll make 1 or 2 of those illegal because, you can talk to people on them. But I think that's just the whole show. I'm going to look at this like the Donald Trump approach. We're not knocking doors. That isn't going to happen.
And also, you need to look into the Snapchat part of it for a strange reason that a lot of my friends who went to school with me in Oklahoma are on Snapchat instead of Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and stuff.
Because it all goes away. I mean, my family's on it, and I'm the only one that's not. So you're right. I do. Yeah. I'll watch some videos on how to do the Snapchat today. But I mean, so is there anything I'm missing here that you can think of? Because there's no push to hurry on it. There's 2 years until the election. My part doesn't come until 6 months out, assuming everybody's still in and all this other stuff. That's when I actually have to sign up and really, run and gun. Otherwise, I mean, I'll do. There's a teacher or a public schools rally at the Capitol on the 27th, but nobody's invited me to speak yet. So, but my guess is I'll get to. But I'm getting in front of the people that I need to get in front of. Yeah. It's just a matter of how far do we want to take this stuff.
And how crazy do you want to get with a campaign like this?
So the thing is what we've got to do is develop one more character. So the Luchador worked. I mean, only one negative comment. The guy was like, I can't even remember what it was, but it was almost like, God, what a shit show this guy did. And you go, yes, thank you for getting it. That is exactly what I did.
Yeah, but only come up with a new character as well.
Right. And so we got to work on that. And my thing is I don't mind going in as businessman in a suit because that's what I am in reality. But I love having these alternate personalities that get to show up.
Yeah.
And no one, do you know of anyone that's ever done anything like this before? Because I don't know anybody.
There might have been like one crazy comedian's campaign somewhere in Europe that I've seen where this thing has happened.
If you find it, let me know. Send me something on it. But there was a guy in New York that used to go with a big old like fireman's boot on his head. But his whole shtick was the rent's too damn high. And so I met him at the Republican National Convention with the boot on his head and all. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, I've always just thought you were wonderful. Hey, will you take a picture for me? And he goes, how you want it? And I go, flip me off on the camera. And so I have it somewhere, and I'm going through one of my older computers right now, seeing if I can find it. But he literally is like, whoa, with the boot and the whole deal. And it's dynamite shot.
There was a friend of mine who had a hat, Sean, but it looked like the bull that is there on Wall Street, like ass on his head.
No,
I need to find out where he got it from, because I think
that's brilliant. Because I think another thing is, do we do a LED hat with a sign on it?
You could, but it depends on day or night when you're speaking. It would be very limited.
Right. Yeah. But it could make a hilarious, 3-minute video.
It would make a hilarious video if that. Have you seen those clips where I can't remember who was the comedian who did it, where he would say something, but the explanation was on there.
Oh, nice. It was scrolling.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty good. Well, let's give that kind of stuff some thought, and we'll chat about it as the weeks continue to roll by. But we didn't steal all of the media on Monday because the impending doom of the storm. What media that was available, we stole. Nice. Yeah. So, and then, and I'm watching these guys roll out these gubernatorial campaigns going, you guys need to get some new advisors, man.
Oh, God. A Twitter launch for a governor's campaign with 160 likes and day two.
In a whole, day two. Wouldn't you advise him to quit at that point? Because I would go, man, hey, dude, you do not have a following.
Unless he is loaded, that campaign costs almost $750 minimum.
Right. Yeah.
To even get it off the ground, $500,000 too.
Yeah. And he'll probably need $5 million of his own money because Gettner Drummond, the other guy running, which is just an unfortunate sounding name at this point in history, they're the biggest landowners, or one of the biggest landowners in the state of Oklahoma. So he's up against real money. And this is the race that Walters wanted to get into. You've got a banker and you've got a real rancher, because, Drummond's family goes back to, Osage Indian stories. So they cross over quite a bit.
They can probably sell a portion of the land and fund the entire campaign and not notice it's gone. That would work.
And they graze federal horses and a whole bunch of other stuff on their gigantic acreage. So I know, crazy. We'll give that stuff some thought, and we'll just keep playing with it as it goes. But other than that, it's just cold today.
Yeah,
everybody made chili. I know.
Sorry, what did you say?
Everybody just made chili, and they'll be at home smelling their own scent for a couple of days.
That's the collateral damage of staying warm with chili, Sean.
It really is, buddy. It really is. All right, man. I'm going to get out of here. I don't really have anything to go do, but I'm going to get out of here. I had to get up 2 hours ago and take some migraine medication.
Oh, shit.
So I hope I sounded all right. But yeah, crazy. Just man, that stuff works in 15 minutes, but it feels like bugs are crawling through your body. It's
no shit. You should send me the name.
Can't be good. Okay, I will. Yeah, but it works. That's the big part. It works. All right, big homie. Take care, man.